In recent weeks, Arsenal have turned self-sabotage into an art form. In fact, since the turn of the year, of the 14 goals Arsenal have conceded in 2021, 7 of them have been a result of unforced defensive errors. With 15 minutes left to go in the game on Thursday, there was a real sense of déjà vu for Arsenal. Just a few days before, when Arsenal faced Burnley in the Premier League, they had got off to a promising start, which was littered with chances. A goal was scored, and then all their good work was undone after a goal was gifted to Burnley. On Thursday night, when Arsenal faced Olympiacos, the match went very similarly. The Gunners created some good opportunities in the opening 15 minutes, eventually got their goal through a wonder strike by Martin Odegaard, only to give their lead away in the second half after another poor mistake when playing out of the back. As Mikel Arteta highlighted in his press conference, the goals and chances Arsenal have been conceding in recent weeks are coming from their own doing. So, with this in mind, this tactical analysis will focus on how Arsenal can eradicate those mistakes with a more direct approach when playing out of the back. In this first instance from the game on Thursday, Leno plays the ball out to Luiz from a goal kick. Notice how instantly Olympiacos initiate their press and begin hunting down the ball. Luiz takes a touch inside and tries to find Partey in the middle. Throughout the game, you'll notice how Olympiacos continuously tried to force Arsenal into playing this ball into midfield. Ultimately, the Olympiacos forward does a good job winning the ball back from Luiz, and they really should have equalized the game. If we return to the beginning of this action, Luiz should realize how high Olympiacos are pressing. The Greek side are really trying to force a mistake out of Arsenal, and know the London side are insistent on building out of the back. In this instance, however, instead of taking the touch inside, Luiz could have taken one touch on his back foot and whipped a curved long ball in and behind the Olympiacos defense. For this to happen, however, the Arsenal attack has to be in sync with Luiz. If we go back to the Benfica game, we could remember this instance where Arsenal went long to Aubameyang. On this occasion, Saka does a good job filling the space under the forward, and Aubameyang does a brilliant job winning his aerial duel. Saka plays Smith Rowe out wide, and ultimately this leads to a 3-on-5, where, if there had been a little more quality, Arsenal could have created Benfica some real problems. Furthermore, in a separate example from later in the game against Olympiacos, Luiz opts to go long. Unlike in the first example, the Brazilian centre-back notices how high Olympiacos' front line is pressing, and takes that touch on his back foot and opts to go long. Although Luiz overhits the pass, notice the space there is in the central area underneath Odegaard. If the pass had been a little better, and say it was Aubameyang instead of Odegaard, Arsenal could have once more had a 3-on-5 running at the Olympiacos defense. Ultimately, Olympiacos win the ball back, but even then, Arsenal are in good shape to counter-press. In this final example of Arsenal's direct play, Bellerin plays the ball back to Luiz. Once more, the Brazilian recognizes the Olympiacos presses on, and quickly sees Saka making a run in behind. Once again, Luiz overhits the pass, but had the ball been a little better, Arsenal and Saka would have been in behind. All in all, a major component of Arteta's philosophy is building out of the back, but a key part of that exact philosophy is understanding and recognizing how the opposing sides are pressing. This video is not saying Arsenal should go long every time when playing out of the back, but it's more so about recognizing occasions when it is beneficial to do so. For example, in this next instance, Gabriel finds Leno with a back pass. Instantly, the Germans should recognize that Olympiacos are pressing high, and that Arsenal are not necessarily in a great position to continue playing out of the back. His first thought should be to find either of his centre backs, but it's clear that passes it on. His second thought, however, should be, can I find Ceballos in the middle? However, as we noted earlier in the video, Olympiacos were trying to force Arsenal into making this pass in the middle, and the Gunners had already made a mistake trying to play that exact pass earlier in the game. With this in mind, Leno's third option should be to go long. However, instead, the German tries to find Ceballos and Olympiacos, who are clearly drilled to do this exact scenario, win the ball back, and tie the game up. This example was not too dissimilar to the goal Arsenal conceded against Burnley last weekend. In that instance, Mari finds Leno with a back pass. Like Olympiacos, Burnley do a good job closing down Leno and cutting off his options into his centre backs. To be fair to Leno, on this occasion, Xhaka had both time and space. Leno's pass into him was the correct decision. However, Xhaka's pass should have been a one-touch pass outside to Luiz. Instead, Xhaka takes a poor first touch towards his own goal and then tries an audacious chip over Chris Wood that the Burnley forward simply has to direct into the Arsenal goal. All in all, it's these simple mistakes that continue to cost Arsenal valuable goals. Although Arsenal were able to eventually beat Olympiacos on Thursday, Arteta will be quick to emphasize that against better opposition, Arsenal will be punished for those mistakes. While part of it is on the players, Arteta, like any coach, is also somewhat culpable. Perhaps a more direct approach is required for Arsenal to eliminate these mistakes and take that step forward in the final games of this season.